Good morning, girls.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
सबको स्लाइड दिख रही है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So yesterday we started with the differences between traditional and modern marketing management. So we'll continue from where we left. So the fourth point is mutual relationship between marketing activities. One second. Under the modern concept of marketing, the responsibility of marketing department is also to establish coordination or integration in all the activities that contact the buyers of the company. On the contrary, in the old marketing concept, the functions of marketing either had no relation or very few. So as we talked about integration as a characteristic of marketing, the modern marketing, it was absent in the traditional marketing technique. Marketing was separately just the promotional aspect of the product. Okay, we did not include all the characteristics of marketing in the other activities of the organization as we do now. Okay, so the old concept dealt with marketing as a separate part of the production activity or the business activity, and now all the activities in the business have a part of marketing built in with them. Okay, next we come to consumer satisfaction and welfare. The objective of the modern concept of marketing is consumer satisfaction and consumer welfare. In modern times, marketing has the responsibility of raising the standard of living of society, whereas in the traditional concept, consumer satisfaction had no place. So consumer satisfaction, consumer welfare, consumer loyalty, okay, consumer relations, consumer management, these are concepts that have recently been launched according to the modern concept of marketing. Traditionally, marketing was just marketing just involved the activities of advertising or giving the information of the existing product to the consumer. Now what we do is we connect our product, its usability, its features to the life of the consumer and how using that product would result in the betterment of their life or improvement of their standard of living. Okay, so consumer related aspects of marketing have recently been launched and are part of the modern marketing concept and not the traditional. Next is comprehensive. The old concept of marketing was of narrow meaning. Was of narrow meaning. In contrast, the field of marketing concept is very wide. So now this point we have been discussing for so long that now marketing includes a lot more activities than compared to the old marketing concept. Okay, now as part of marketing we collect feedbacks, we even distribute samples, we maintain customer records, okay, customer loyalty. Like if you ever open a website now, every single website will ask for your contact details, maybe the phone number or email ID, through which they can maintain a database related to the customers who are interested in their products or brands. Okay, so a lot of more activities have come up in the modern concept. Then profit earning. The old concept was aimed at making an attempt to make a profit by increasing the sales volume. whereas the modern concept of marketing emphasizes on making profits through customer satisfaction. Okay, so now the technique of profit earning, obviously the main objective is to earn profit, but the technique through which profit was earned has changed now. Okay, so earlier we used to earn profits by trying to increase the number of sales, and now we try to maintain customer satisfaction. Now customer satisfaction, the more the customer is satisfied, more loyal will the person be. Okay, so we maintain customer satisfaction in order to increase the amount of profits that we earn. Next, production oriented versus customer oriented. So customer oriented and production oriented, this is the point that is most important. Okay, customer is the ultimate reason of our existence. This is the mantra on which modern marketing operates. So the old concept of marketing was production oriented, means based on production activities, how much should be produced, what should be produced, what should be the techniques of production. But now with the modern concept of marketing, we base every activity's conceptual background on the customer oriented model. Okay, so customer orientation is most important. We think from the point of view or perspective of the customer, what he or she would like, what are their needs, what are their wants, how much they can afford, where do they live, what would be the current fashion and trend that is upcoming in the market, and according to that we design the production activity. Alright, chaliye. So moving on, next we come to the problems related to marketing of agriculture products. So we did discuss the marketing characteristics, what all should be included in marketing. We discussed the old and modern concept of marketing, the differences that exist. Now we'll see, when we involve these characteristics of marketing in the marketing of agricultural products, what are the problems that we face. So first is there is a lack of trained agriculture marketing staff in our country. The reason for this is that the institutes imparting training here are very small in quantity. So marketing is a field or a specialization that is taught and is provided as a training in many institutes, many training centers around the world, especially now that these activities have become so crucial. So it is an increasing trend. But all the marketing activities that we learn are basically targeting or from the point of view of more urban consumers, or targeting the sales of manufactured goods, okay, not the agricultural products. So both these products, as we have discussed so much now, we know that both these products are different. Okay, agricultural products are different, and manufactured goods are different. Okay, their consumption is different. The way the consumer would perceive to purchase these products, that is different. Their seasonality is different, their production is different, storage is different. Okay, so it's entirely a different concept altogether. Okay, so there is a lack of trained staff relating to or catering to the needs of agricultural marketing. Then second, there is a lack of facilities for conducting agriculture marketing research in India. So a lack of facilities conducting agriculture marketing. So we do not have enough resources being provided to the research of agriculture marketing. There is a very small number of such organizations which can provide support or favorable opinion in marketing research. There are very few such institutions here that can do research for the farmers themselves and give their research recommendations. So as green revolution was introduced, you may have studied in your schooling that green revolution was a part of agriculture industry or agriculture sector which renovated or brought about a lot of reforms for the agriculture sector, but that was a very limited level of research or a very limited innovation. Okay, only high yielding variety of seeds. Now we need to invest more in providing more resources or providing more finance to projects which focus on researching or bringing about these kind of pesticides, fertilizers, more non-toxic toxic chemical fertilizers, plus better quality high yielding seeds at lower prices. Okay, because the people that are involved in agriculture cannot afford to invest so much money in such expensive innovations. Okay, so we need to find a way in order to make these innovations available to them at lower prices. Okay, so that needs a lot of research. Then a major problem in our country, which is in the marketing of agriculture product, is the absence of equal grading and standardization of the product here. For this reason, farmers do not get equal value of their products. So every agriculture produce has to be standardized or graded. Okay, now grading is given on various parameters. There are parameters that have been decided, if we take the example of rice. So rice, the parameters of grading rice is the length of the grain, the color of the grain, the shape of the grain, okay, the smell of the grain. All these things help us in grading the product. So grading means dividing into categories based on different qualities. Okay, so every quality of rice is different and is sold at a different price. Okay, so these standardization, the techniques and the method of standardization and grading are not as easily available as they should be. Okay, and because due to the lack of these standardization techniques, a lot of farmers have good quality of product, but as they do not know that their product quality is of a better grade, they have to sell it due to lack of knowledge on a lesser price. Okay, so they face losses. Then production of food grain has increased since the market oriented production policy was implemented in the country, but due to lack of adequate storage and adequate support prices, farmers are not getting adequate prices. Going forward, this situation can end self-sufficiency in the area of food grain. So food grain production has obviously increased, but not from the point of view of being self-sufficient. We are trying to increase production so that we can export and sell our agriculture produce to different countries, to other countries, so that we get a better price for it. But we are not being able to procure enough food for our own country. Then next point is, in our country no attention is paid to agriculture products and customer satisfaction. Okay, so agriculture products are not as standardized, or they are not thought of as something that would give the customers satisfaction. Okay, so these are the problems that we face. Depending on the Alright, then moving on to the next topic. Next is we come to the structured organized markets. Okay, so under structured organized markets there are two types of market. There are more, but we'll study each of them one by one. Okay, so we'll start with commodity exchange. Now, firstly, we need to know what is the difference between the organized markets and regulated market. So many scholars do not consider any distinction between a regular or controlled market and organized markets. Regulated markets are markets that are under and operate according to government rules and regulations. Okay, but some differentiate them to the following points. So first is rules and organization. Organized mandis are established on the basis of mutual cooperation by traders with the aim of reducing competition. We are not the only ones in their rules and one second. While the regular mandis are established by regular legislations, it is not applicable in the measurable state, causing uniformity in the functions, rules and organization etc. of the regular mandis of the entire state. So as I said, organized markets are organized by the sellers that will trade their products in that particular market. Okay, now here we are talking about markets that deal with agricultural products. Okay, so organized markets are those which are organized by the people who will be setting up their shops or stalls or selling their products in that market. Okay, they create a group among themselves and organize this market. But regulated mandis or regulated markets are set up by and organized by the government, the state government probably. Then second, we come to punishment system of those who violate the rules in organized mandis. There is a system of general economics, whereas in regular mandis, in this context, both economic punishment and imprisonment can be done, and they can be prevented from working. Okay, so punishment system is also established. So in organized mandis there is no punishment system, like it is an association. Okay, we create, like in your class you create a group amongst yourself and set up a market. Okay, so if somebody breaks the rules, the group will punish that person, maybe charge an extra fee or something. Okay, and in regulated markets the rules have to be followed, and the government oversees all these following of rules and implementation of the rules. And if somebody is breaking the rules, they are punished in monetary terms, means they have to give some extra charges etc. or fines, and they can also be imprisoned. Okay, for depending on what is the level of activity that they are performing. Then next we come to changes in the rules of organized markets. can be done at any time in the majority, while the permission of the state government is necessary for the change of rules in regular mandis. Where was I? So changes in the rules of organized markets can be done at any time, okay, in the majority. Means the group itself can create the changes, they decide among themselves, and the change in rules is made, okay. But in regular mandis, the government has to decide when and what rules can be changed and have to be changed, okay. Then expenditure. There is no limit in respect of expenditure and fees to be charged in organized mandi. So the group itself can decide what each seller will pay in order to be a part of that organized market. Now generally the maximum limit for expenses fees that can be charged in regular mandis is fixed by the state government, okay. Then employees in organized mandis are generally unpaid, while all employees from regular mandis are salaried. So employees may be the person who is weighing the products, okay, packing the product, or calculating or keeping record. All these things have to be done when they are participating in a regular market, okay, or regulated market. In organized market, they do not have to maintain any kind of records or something. So there is no person that is appointed. Everyone who sells can weigh their own products and collect the payment. Then government control. So there is no government control over organized mandis. Okay, so organized mandis, as I said, it's sort of like a private market. Okay, the audit of their accounts is not compulsory, as the government does not take such mandis under its control. In contrast, regular mandis have government control, and mandi employees are government servants, and it is mandatory to audit the books of these mandis, and in case of irregularities, the government can take control of regular mandi. Okay, I think this point does not need to be explained. Everybody would have understood. In the organized market, there are no rules and regulations, no audit has to be considered, but in any activity that the government is involved in, they have to maintain a record of even 1 rupee that they have spent, okay, or 1 rupee transaction also, if it has been made, it has to be recorded, because it is part of the public expenditure. The government has to keep a record of how it is spending the taxpayers' money, okay. So these were the differences between a regulated and an organized market, okay. So we'll stop here today. Tomorrow we'll start with
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am,